Hey, now we on.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
we on now. So, all right, yeah. And then Tim Smith with the last pick. I think we done with Riley Leonard, right?
Yeah, I'm done with it.
So, and then Tim Smith, possible depth piece that you get in the sixth round. Currently sitting behind Grover Stewart and another name I'm not even going to pronounce. but and then they get safety. They get a safety out of Hunter Worley
Wisconsin.
in out of Wisconsin in the that was the seventh round.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Colts draft. Uh, I like what they done here. I think
Yeah,
they put them in a position. Of course, we're gonna say that about a lot of teams. Every team gets better around this time of the year. Free agency and then the draft. But we'll see what the Colts do.
yep.
Um, Going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is who they selected. And props to Jacksonville for having that. I don't care. Like we getting our guy. I think you gave up maybe a little too much for him, but you move up from 5 to 2 to select cornerback, wide receiver Travis Hunter out of Colorado. Um, and I mean that's a that's a face of the franchise type pick right there. Third round pick 88, you pick cornerback Caleb Ransall out of Tulane. I like him. And in the third round, pick 89. So they had back to back picks. Offensive guard Wyatt Millum from West
Mm-hmm.
Virginia. Fourth round, offensive fourth round pick 104. Running back Bashul Tutton from Virginia Tech. I do like that pick as well. Fourth round pick 107. They picked Jack Kaiser out of linebacker out of Notre Dame. In the sixth round, pick 194. Linebacker Jalen McLeod from Auburn. So they definitely trying to stockpile that linebacker room. In the sixth round, pick 200 safety Rayon Lane out of Navy. And in the seventh round, pick 221 center Jonah Monty out of USC. And then in the seventh round, pick 236 running back LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse. So with this Travis Hunter pick, though, like what a way to go up and get that guy to get a guy that Trevor Lawrence can potentially rely on, and then who can go to the other side of the ball and contribute as well. What do you feel about that? About that? How Jacksonville went up and got him?
Uh, I get it. James Gladstone. He wanted to come in first time GM. Been on the less need and with the Rams. So and Sean McVay. So you know how they do. But get them picks. For a better phrase. So you started hearing rumblings day of that hey somebody might be coming up, and they identified that guy. You know what I mean? And like you said, you want to surround Trevor Lawrence with everything possible, and why not get the best receiver, best cornerback in his draft in some people's eyes, And but this Travis pick, with the other picks behind, I do like Bashar Tootin pick. I do like the Wyatt Mullen pick in the third round, I believe you say. I do like those. Some of my favorite picks from this draft class. I like his center too. I can't pronounce his name, but I know he tore his
Joe
ACL.
Bargy.
Yes, I know he tore his ACL a couple years ago, and he's bouncing back from that this year. So he's pretty solid. But this draft class is going to ride or die with Travis Hunter. If Travis Hunter becomes what people think he becomes, this draft class is one for the books. But everything is dependent on him. You know what I mean? Like nobody, no disrespect to these other draftees, but Travis Hunter is going to be the headline from this class until he stopped playing. You know what I mean? Like Bashar Tootin, he has a chance, but if Travis hits and he becomes an All Pro at wide receiver or cornerback, it's a successful draft class. So I feel like they put all their eggs in the Travis Hunter sweepstakes. And hey, man, we're gonna hit y'all wagon to this, and this gonna be the James Gladstone being his first draft. This is a big statement, man. This is a big step for him and getting his name out there in the league circle and say, hey, I'm here and I'm just taking a chance, man. So I like it, man. I like the boldness.
And what a way to hit, Gladstone first year. Liam, what's my man, the head coach? Liam Cohen. I had it right at the tip of my tongue. Liam Cohen, first year as a head coach. What a way to kick the start of your draft, the first season of head coach and GM, and by picking this guy who can just basically just flip the whole face of the franchise, like shift the whole culture, pretty much. Like, I think they did an excellent job with that. What they gave up, as we talked about that on a couple of episodes ago. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make yourself well known and try to compete in this league, because Jacksonville is not one of those teams last year. Year before they were, but we'll see what happens. Then in the cornerback room, Travis is a cornerback as well. They added Caleb Ransaw from Tulane, so that adds to that room as well. You mentioned Wyatt Mullum from West Virginia to add to the offensive line room. Bashir Tootin to add to a room with Travis Etienne, who knows what his future is going to look like there, and then Tank Bigsby. I like what they did here with Tootin.
Yeah, man. I like Tootin as well. He gives you that dart. You know what I'm saying? I think he ran. I don't know if what he ran, four threes, four low sub 4.3. I'm not sure, but he quick as a hiccup. So
yeah. So with Brian Thomas already over there, and then you add De'Ami Brown. He improved last season, considering that from what he was already in the league. You should know him well. North Carolina.
Yep.
Still got Gabe Davis over there. Tight end room still pretty much looking the same with Brendan Strange and Johnny Mudd, but offensive line, Walker Little, Anton Harrison. I mean, this is a growing. They're still growing. They're still growing. So we'll see what happens with them. LaQuint Allen, also the running back selected in the 7th round. Every year you're going to get one of those guys, and he could be another one of those guys as well.
Yeah, man. Them taking. Just think about it, man. You just running off all their draft picks, man. They went offense 1, 2, 3, 2. Hey, man, this is. Hey, Trevor Lawrence, we're here for you. Ain't no more excuses. You got everything you need. We gave you 2 running backs, along with Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. We got some offensive line help. Wyatt Mullum, he might come in, push for a starting spot at guard. We gave you the best receiver in the draft. You got the best cornerback in the draft. You got Gabe Davis came over from Buffalo. Oh, you got Brian Thomas that balled out last year.
Over 1,000 yards.
Exactly. The tight end room is a little shaky, but you have the weaponry around you. Now it's like, okay, what else can we do for you? So let's go ahead and make us right and us giving you 275 M's. Make us look good, you know what I mean? So there's no more excuses for Trevor. You know what I'm saying? I told my boy he's a big Jags fan. And he was like, man, they stay hurt. Yeah, man, I understand things happen, man, but you can't blame the organization for, Trevor Lawrence. You're giving him everything that he needs. He's sunshine. So, I like what Jacksonville did as far as, hey, you're our guy. And they've stamped that with this draft. And here's the keys to the Ferrari. Take us where we need to go.
Yeah, I think, like you said, tight end room a little shaky, but you would like to see them do something there. But we'll see. Brendan Strange was just drafted, last year, a couple of years ago?
Maybe a year before last.
Yeah, so you bring Johnny Munt over there, who came from the Rams, I believe. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there on the defensive side of the ball. Josh Hines, Allen, and then Trayvon Walker, who's had two straight seasons of production there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you bring Eric Armstead there. Still got Davon Hamilton there. One of the more decent run stoppers in the league. And then like what they did back to back linebackers picks in the fourth round at 107 and in the sixth round at 194 with Jack Kaiser and Jalen McLeod trying to contribute more to that linebacker room. Devin Lloyd, I think they declined his 5th-year option just recently. So you still got Olakun over there. So we'll see what happens with the Jags, man. I think they did. I think they did all right. I think they did
Yeah,
all
man.
right.
Yeah, they did all right, man. But they did all right, man. But I think my favorite class is the class we're gonna talk about. My favorite class from this division is coming up. What Houston did. There we go.
And here we go with Houston. They traded out of the first round, and they got 2 second-round picks. So they went wide receiver at pick 34 in the second round with Jaden Higgins, wide receiver from Iowa State. I love this kid. Uh, and then also in the second round, pick 48, offensive tackle Ariante Ursery from
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, um, offensive tackle. And then in the third round, pick 79, they went wide receiver again with Jalen Noel from Iowa State. In the third round, pick 97, cornerback Jalen Smith from USC. In the fourth round, pick 116, running back Woody Marks from USC. So it went back to back USC. I like the Woody Marks pick right here. In the sixth round, pick 187, safety Jalen Reed from Penn State. And then also in the sixth round, pick 197, quarterback Graham Mertz from Florida. In the seventh round, pick 224, defensive tackle Keontae Hamilton from Rutgers. And in the seventh round, pick 255, tight end Luke Lachey from Iowa. Somebody that can also who can potentially help with that run offense. Um, I like that pick. I mean, he picked in the seventh round, so but I think that those Iowa tight ends usually find themselves a job in the NFL, find themselves somewhere in the NFL. So, what did you feel about the Houston Texans draft class?
Man, I love it, man. Like they had a plan. They identified, hey, what was wrong? How do we fix it? And they attacked it. Yes, they went. I'm going to include the Larry Tunsil trade in this because they gave up picks for Larry Tunsil. They gave up a second and a four, I believe, in this year's draft. I believe for Larry Tunsil. So I'm gonna throw Larry Tunsil in here. So you got your a Pro Bowl offensive lineman, right? And then you go in, hey, I don't know if Tank Dell's gonna be good to go after that catastrophic injury you had last year versus Chief. Stephon Diggs, he's moved on. Nico Collins, he's there. Robert Woods has moved on. So I tell you what, let's go and get replacements. You go out and get Jaden Higgins, big body guy, 6'4", 220 something, and then you double back. You double that. Thank you. You double down, and you go get a speedy Jalen Noel, his teammate, out of Iowa State. I love that, man. I love that. And then you get you a starting right tackle in the second round with Ariante Ursery, bona fide. He had for some people he had a late one, early two, second round grade, but to get him at pick 48, that's a steal. And then you go in the third round, you get Jalen Smith out of USC, solid corner. Um, that can give you some depth in that room. And then you go get Woody Marks, which is, in the fourth round, which is a good back that can help you in spell Joe Mixon. He's a good receiving back out the backfield. And then you go in the sixth round, you get Graham Mertz. He can be a serviceable backup, hold a clipboard for you. He's been around. He's played ball for what, 4 or 5 years in college now. He's been with Florida for as long as I can believe, as long as I know it. Then, like you say, you get tight end Luke Lachey in the seventh round. We all know our tight ends. They give you something in the NFL, whether it's pass catchers, blockers, or just being smart people on the football field, man. So, yeah, man, I love the Texans draft, man, especially that them two second round picks, them two third round picks, and Woody Marks, man. That right there was fantastic to me, man. Just think about it. Think about the Texans secondary right there. You got Bullock out of USC last year. You got my boy Stingley, P Trey. Then you get this guy right here. And I know I'm missing another corner. I can't think of his name.
Uh, you got Ronald Darby also there.
You got Darby in for some depth, man. Good luck fighting to get up. Good luck fighting to get on the field or stand in the cornerback room on this team because this is probably the best young secondary in the NFL, hands down. And I just love that they doubled down and got another player, another baller to strengthen that secondary, man. So it was like I said about the Jaguars. It was all about C.J. Stroud. I mean Trevor Lawrence. This is all about keeping C.J. Stroud upright going into his third year. You get a new nucleus in the offensive line room. You get younger. You get the toxic stuff out there as was reported a few months ago, man. So, but yeah, man, Texans. I think they hit a triple this draft.
Already having a potential 1-2 punch with the cornerback room, Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter.
Kamari Lassiter, that's his name from Georgia. That's the other guy. Yep, I could think of his name.
Oh my God. But I did like what they did is fucking good because you don't know the status of Tank Dell. So,
right.
Trading back and then, you grabbing you Jaden Higgins. And then like you said, double back, you're getting Jalen Noel. So some deep speed guys.
Yeah, man.
Potentially you still got Xavier Hutchinson over there who's continuing his development. John Mechie's still there, deep threat. So and then like you traded for Christian Kirk. So wide receiver room, the offense is looking very, very scary, especially with the things that Joe Mixon can do. You still got Damian Pierce over there, and then you add your Woody Marks, depending on what he does. So and then offense. So don't talk about offense. Am I still there?
Yeah, you here. You'll chop you a little bit, but you still here.
Yeah. So I mean, Trent Brown, Cam Robinson, you get him on a rental. So that's what you grab Ursery in the second round for. I like what they did on the offensive side of the ball. I can definitely see the Texans improving. And you still got Nico Collins there. So
yeah, man, it's gonna be hard.
I love what the Texans did on the defense.
That wide receiver room. Ooh, who could be odd man out? Hutchinson, Mechie. You got think about it, man. You got Nico, Jaden, Christian Kirk, Jalen, the other guy from Iowa State, Mechie, Hutchinson, Tank on IR. They keep it 7 wide receivers? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, man. But yeah,
man. And then with in the 4-3 base defense, Will Anderson, you know what he does over there. Danielle Hunter on the other side. I think this team is, they've learned from the last 2 years. I think that you can definitely see big things. Oh, also grabbing C.J. Gardner Johnson at the safety position. So just coming off a championship run. So
that secondary out of control.
Yes, imagine the camp battles in that. Oh man, it might be one of the teams we had to keep our eyes on right there.
Absolutely.
You ready to go to the next?
Yeah, man. Let's hit this NFC South, man. I mean, probably the worst division in football, according to some people, man. But let's go ahead and knock it out.
We for the ones that's just tuning in, like we had already touched on the Titans and the Colts before I realized that we weren't live on Facebook and YouTube. So Hopefully, at the end of the stream, you can go back and you can see those two teams on how we talked about those guys. Going to the NFC South, and we're gonna start with the New Orleans Saints here and what they did. Um, First offensive tackle, ninth overall, they picked Kelvin Banks Jr. Loved it, and it was a move that they had to go to right there. I love his run blocking ability, and the pass blocking ability like that. It'll work. It'll come along, but where his strength is definitely run blocking. In the second round, pick 40, you pick potential quarterback of the future there with Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. He had one productive season, but we'll see what happens there with Kellen Moore there. Third round, pick 71, you pick defensive tackle Vernon Broughton from Texas. Third round, and mind you, at Texas they had defensive tackles like we was mentioning another team that had at a position they had like a lot. Ohio State, we was talking about them defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, another one. Think about the guy that went to. I'm blanking on his name. Why am I blanking on guys' names? We talked about one earlier with Tavondre Sweat, and then the guy in Seattle now,
Byron Murphy.
Byron Murphy. So Texas keep producing those defensive tackles. Another one going right here in the third round. And then in the third round, in '93, they picked Jonas Sanker, safety out of Virginia. I love this pick, Gary. Fourth round, pick 112. Another pick that I love, Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma, linebacker. In the fourth round, pick 131, Quincy Riley from Louisville, safety. One of my favorite picks in the sixth round, pick 184, Devin Neal out of Kansas. Say in the seventh round, pick 248, Maliki Matavao.
Yeah, we're gonna roll with that.
I want to say that's how you say it, out of UCLA, tight end. And then say seventh round, pick 254, defensive end Fidel Diggs from Syracuse. The first two picks, I feel like they even with that second pick, the second pick should have been somebody else. let's just call that what it is. But they went with Tyler Shuck, and I looked at some of the film, and considering what Kellen Moore can do, we'll see what he can do there. What do you think about Tyler Shuck and his chances? With Derek Carr potentially not playing this year, what do you feel like his chances of potentially starting there?
He's gonna start at some point because New Orleans, the Derek Carr experiment is over in New Orleans. Trust me, I know the feeling, New Orleans fans. If you're out there listening, I put up with it for 9 years. There's a ceiling with him. He's a service quarterback. He's a veteran, but he can't get you to where you need to go. The only thing I don't like about this Tyler Shuck is that should have been, like you said, there should have been somebody else there. Picked at 40, but I understand, all the politics and stuff about it. Whatever. That's nothing out of my control. It's out of my control. They're going to give him a share, a fair shake, to start. But I definitely, once we get down the road here, a couple months when we start talking about 2026, I can definitely see the New Orleans Saints being back in the quarterback market again via draft. Tyler Shuck, he started at Oregon, went to Texas Tech, I want to say, then ended up at Louisville, and he had 2 shoulder injuries, so that's kind of scared me a little bit. You know how it goes. Once they say, I want to say they were shoulders. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. They say once you're hurt in college, you're hurt in pros, and that rings true. A la Tua Tagovailoa. He stayed hurt in school, get to the pros, nothing changes. So wish nothing but clean bill of health for Tyler Shuck. But I feel like that Shuck pick is one that they want. Kellen Moore wanted to get his guy. I'm not. I don't agree that it was the right guy, but they know more than we do. Um, yeah, man. So we'll, hope he has a good season, but I can definitely see them back in the quarterback market in 26.
And considering that Derek Carr is out, with say if he is out for the season, um, you're sharing that room with Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner right now,
Yes.
and there's no telling who else they could bring in. A potential veteran quarterback who's performed well in the preseason or something. They could do that. But this is Tyler Shuck's job for the taking. Like, this is our opportunity. Look who else is in the quarterback room. Go ahead and take that. But there's a difference in saying that and it actually happened. We'll see what happens with that. But I know he's got a hell of an arm.
Oh yeah, he can spin that thing now.
Yeah, and considering with the weapons that you have over there, you got Alvin Kamara who you throw it to, Chris Olave. Hopefully, no more concussions, but it's a contact sport. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Shaheed. Very underrated guy right there. I ain't gonna say underrated. Underrated is kind of disrespectful. Like this guy he's special. And then you bring Brandon Cooks over there. So like the receiving room isn't like it doesn't scare me.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get you about your seat and be like, oh shoot, we gotta put our best. We gotta put Patrick Surtain on the seat. So it ain't gonna make you, game plan like that, man. But yeah, man, I feel like Brandon Cooks done been there about 40 years, man. Golly.
What do you feel about the Devin Neal pick? Like he went sixth, pick 184. How do you feel about this pick?
I don't. Devin Neal. I don't know, man. He reminds me of a little. He got a little Camaro to him. So I was just trying to get younger back there in the backfield, which I understand. Kamara's what 29, 30. So this season he's on a new deal. They gave him some more money to satisfy him. But man, you got to get younger in the backfield, man. He can. This can be. He can carry the load. Obviously, me watching Colorado once again last year. They played them and he was a one man wrecking crew, man. You couldn't with Travis Hunter on that team, they couldn't stop him. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I like Devin Neal as a running back. They got him in the appropriate spot in the 6th round. I think you said in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Good value. Yeah, man, he's going to contribute this year to the New Orleans Saints.
Speaking of Alvin Kamara, I got a question. So instead of signing the 2-year deal to make you happy, wouldn't it be better? Well, I ain't gonna say would it be better because he could be happy down in New Orleans. But if you don't have many years left,
right?
Wouldn't you want to play for a championship? And the state of where this roster is right now, I don't see a championship coming.
No, you ain't seeing one. No, you ain't seeing one no time soon.
So I'm trying to think of like maybe he's not pressed about winning. Maybe that's what that says. I mean,
I don't know, man. Like these this another whole this another whole episode for another day about these athletes, man. Winning is. I don't say winning ain't everything. Feeding your family and making sure your kids good. That's the end game. For some of these athletes, which I respected. What Shannon Sharp say? Yeah, you can't eat the rings. You know what I'm saying? Eat the rings. So I mean, I get it, man. He's been a lifetime New Orleans Saints player, and man, sometimes you reward players like that to get them a new contract and just keep them around. And players like that that's been around and haven't gotten in trouble Well, he did get in trouble off the field, but it was whatever. Model citizen, man. You want to reward those guys, and just to show the ones that's coming up behind you. If you do the right thing and keep your head down, and no matter where you picked at, what round you picked in, if you just continue to work hard, you will get rewarded. I don't know, you know what I'm saying, but I probably want to end up going somewhere else and see if I can compete for a championship. Man, I know you probably like, man, why he didn't want to come to Denver and sign for 2 years? Don't nobody want to go play in Denver anyway, but
nobody want to come in the cold, ain't it?
I don't want to come to the cold, man. You get hit, got snot coming out your nose in January. And I'm not trying to go through that, man. But yeah, man. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess he's New Orleans. He's a New Orleans Saints lifer, man. That must be the perfect situation, perfect fit for him.
Can you? Well, another question. Trevor Penning, they declined his 5th-year option.
That's why they took Kelvin Banks right there, because they know Pennin's not going to be back.
Yeah. So, is this a situation where Trevor Penning is on the field in a New Orleans Saints uniform at the beginning of the season, or does he get traded, or does he play this year out?
I think Banks. You taking Banks in the top 10. If you took if you took Talise Fuaga last year at 14, and he's just starting right tackle right now, you take Kelvin Banks in the top 10. My expectation is he's going to be your starting left tackle going into the year. So that means somebody's going to be the odd man out, and you declining Trevor Penning's 5th-year option. He's penalty prone. I don't think he's probably going to get traded in camp or something, or somebody might want to pick him up and see what they can get out of him. Just like Evan Neal and the Giants. We ain't got to the NFC East yet, but same type of situation. Highly graded offensive lineman, win the top 20, and it just didn't work out. And they wanted to move on, and by New Orleans going back-to-back offensive linemen, 23 and 24 and 25, it goes to show you, hey, that the picks that they had before that, Trevor Penning as a top 20 pick in 2023, and then Ryan Ramczyk retiring because of medicals, where his knees are bad. That goes to show you that they're just moving in another direction and getting younger at their 2 bookend tackle spots.
It's bad when Fuaga is your only left tackle right now.
Yeah. They have to rebuild everything, man. They have to rebuild their whole offensive line and defensive line, man. So, like I said, I like the Banks pick. We all, draft week, we thought Banks was going to go to us, but he didn't, we overpassed him, and New Orleans, they did the right thing. It's not this, and it's not the sexy thing to do. Draft day is to pick an offensive lineman, but it's the right thing to do. I seen a quote on Twitter last week. Everybody, and this rings true for all 32 franchises. Everybody wants to talk about winning the trenches in the playoff times, January, February, March. Everybody want to win in the trenches, but when it ain't sexy in April, May, and June to pick those trench players, it's like franchises be like, I can speak for my franchise right here. Oh man, don't nobody want to go offensive lineman, right? Don't nobody want no offensive line at pick 6. That's boring. Don't nobody want to do that. But then again, to all the teams that pick offensive linemen in the first round, they playing in December, January, and February. It ain't the sexiest thing to do draft season. But then they wonder why teams that are so good, the Eagles, Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, they take this not so sexy players that's going to matter most of you during the playoff time, and they pick them in April and May when you don't think that everybody wants the skill, everybody wants the running back, everybody wants the quarterback, everybody wants the wide receiver. But you got to start up front, man. So, yeah, man, I applaud the Saints what they've done the past drafts, especially this draft here as well, going back, doubling down, and taking Kelvin Banks at pick 9. And it's a little upside to this class right here, depending on Tyler Cook, the quarterback.
Yeah, great point with the offensive line and winning in the trenches, because that is how it's won, whether on either side of the ball. So I love your point there. On the defensive side of the ball, Cam Jordan, he's getting older.
Yeah, he getting up there.
Um, and Carl Granderson, and then you take Fidel Diggs. That's not a ideal pick where you say, well, Fidel Diggs is going to replace this person or he's next in line. I mean, you picked him in the 7th round, so but I thought they would go in there. I thought they would go defensive end somewhere, but they
Yeah, that's
didn't.
what I was saying. Michael, remember, I was always on the Michael bandwagon. Like, hey, if you're gonna swing, this the guy to swing for. And obviously they went Banks, but Michael went 4 picks later to San Francisco. So I wasn't that far off, you know what I mean? But
Right. Brian Breesy, who they drafted, like I want to say a couple years ago. It wasn't long, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
So he's still young, got a couple years experience. At the nose tackle spot, Nathan Shepard and Davon Gaucho, who they got from New England. Surprised he went there. And then Vernon Broughton behind Kalen Saunders for the other defensive tackle spot. So still some work. Say it again.
Still there?
Who is it?
Chase Young. Is he still there?
Yeah, he is. He
I
is.
thought he signed with New Orleans.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Chase Young, and then Pete Warner is still there. And then with Demario Davis, all right. So Demario Davis getting older, and another one of those guys. It's like Cam Jordan, been on the Saints pretty much about the same time. Man, and that's where Danny Stutzman come in. And I watched his film the other day, and like I love his motor, how he goes and gets it. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a good pick for them right there. At the cornerback spot, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then they got Hugo Amadi. However you pronounce his name. So cornerback, unless Kool-Aid takes a big step forward this year, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you kind of knew the cornerback room was going to take a dip, when they got rid of Marshawn Lattimore last year. I was very high on Kool-Aid when he came out a couple years ago. I thought he was a first-round pick. He ended up going in the 2nd round to about around this same spot for New Orleans. Yeah, he has CB. He's a CB2 with CB1 potential, but I think I'm saying, outside of Kool-Aid McKinstry, who else do you have looking real light? So I think that's going to be a point of emphasis. Doing this off season, going into training camp, is to get more depth, get more starters, another starter or two at the cornerback position. And I don't know too much about their safety position right now.
I was just about to go into that. Justin Reed, who they signed in the offseason, is at what currently right now they got him as strong safety, but I think he's more of a free safety. Yeah. And then Tyrann Mathieu, and then behind him they got Jordan Howden and Jonas Sanker. And like Jonas, I feel like this is a spot for Jonas to shine right here.
Yeah, golly. So, Tyrann still balling?
Still balling.
We getting old.
Yeah, Tyrann's still balling. So it definitely, for like fantasy owners, do not take New Orleans as a defense this year. I wouldn't recommend it. Anything else on the Saints here?
No, man. Like I said, man, the Saints are in a position that you don't want any NFL. The Saints are in a position that the 2013, 2015 Raiders were in. They were in cap, what, because they kept kicking the can down the road. Didn't want to, cut your losses. And you look at their cap space. They had to do something with Carr's contract to make them cap compliant, man. They got Lattimore in the books, man. They just kept extending players that they know they should have moved on from. So by them just taking players in premium spots the last 2 draft, offensive line, You're starting to see them. Mickey Loomis turn the corner and get a younger, cheaper roster. So I don't think they're going to be ready to compete for another 2 years. So I say 2027 at the earliest. You'll start seeing cheaper contracts and people having the Kelvin Banks and Fuaga having experience. Tyler Shucky, we still a starter, have more experience, man. So I say they're about a couple seasons away from getting back and having healthy cap space to where they can go out and sign free agents and sign veterans and put a decent product on the field.
Hopefully, uh, hopefully, Kellen Moore gets a fair shake because the turnover rate with head coaches, GMs as well. It's very slim. It's like microwave. So it's like if you're not winning within the first 2 years of you being there, it's like you're out of here.
Well,
I feel like go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Finish your statement.
I feel like it's a little unfair, but I mean that's just the stage where we at and in the league and right now. But you got to like if he doesn't get it right in like the first 2 years, like I mean, like you said, like they're like a couple years. They might even be more years away from even competing. So hopefully he gets a fair shake at this and then building his team right.
Yeah, man. I hope he do, man. But as you can, they have no choice but to let him get a fair shake. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been there. He's done that. He's coordinated Dak. He's coordinated Herbert. He's coordinated Hurts. So probably top 10, three top 10 quarterbacks in the league. He knows what it looks like. You know what I mean? And New Orleans had had that since Drew Brees been in the center. And then, like I said, going back into the cap situation, their roster situation, their current life cycle as a roster, they know they're not ready to compete yet. So you have to be patient and let Kellen get his guys in the building. Why you think the Saints were one of the last teams to get a coach hired? The last team. You know what I'm saying? Mike McCarthy turned it down. Terry Glenn, he didn't interview. He went to the Jets job. Ben Johnson said, no, thank you. Yeah, man, everybody just turned it around because they see that. I know we're spending a lot of time on the Saints, but this is important. They know that was a dumpster fire cap-wise and roster construction-wise. They were nowhere near to ready to compete no time soon. So all the hot commodity names that everybody wanted to go get, they weren't able to get them because of the situation that they're in. And fortunately for Kellen Moore, the Saints didn't do anything until after the Super Bowl, and they brought him in, and it's only 32. There's only 32 of these things, and how can you say no to becoming a head coach of a National Football League organization? So it just made too much sense for Kellen Moore not to take the job, if that makes sense.
Great point on him just winning the Super Bowl. So maybe they give him a little patience and give him a little time over there so he can build that thing right, man.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to the Atlanta Falcons.
Hey, I got a mouthful for this one, boy. Ooh.
Where my graphic at? Oh, there it is.
Hey.
So the Atlanta Falcons in the first, so they picked twice in the first round. And if you hadn't watched the episode before this one, we talked about Atlanta, moving back into the first round, but they took linebacker Jalen Walker from Georgia. They took him 15th overall, came back into the first round and picked 26th overall defensive end James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. So two guys that can rush the passer. Jalen Walker a little bit more different, can do a little bit more things than James Pierce. What you think about this?
I like the picks. I take that back. I like the players. Jalen Walker, James Pierce. As I will state again, you did not have to give up on next year's one to go get James Pierce. He would have been there for you probably whenever you picked again in the second round. I can see you. I can see you moving up. Not to say that the Rams have your next year one, right? That could possibly be a top 15 pick.
Mhm.
So you telling me that James Pierce is worth 30 more draft slots? It's just I don't understand the logic behind it, but I do like the fact that they addressed their biggest issue and they doubled down on it. I just don't like the fact that they had to give up a future one for somebody that they could have got in the second round by moving up. I don't know where the exact pick was in the second round, but they could have moved up to maybe 33, 34, 35, where there's a little more movement in the second round because people trying to accumulate to the meat and potatoes of the draft, which is the second and third round. They're trying to get those picks because that's where you fill your roster out at. I feel like you could have got them at top of the second round, first 7 picks instead of giving up your future one. But I'm not upset at the players. I understand the Falcons addressed the issue that the fans been saying they didn't have in a long time. I get it. I just don't like the capital that they gave up to get James Pierce. But look, as you may say, man, if he hit, who cares what you gave up for him? It's like when the Chiefs gave up what they gave up to go get Mahomes. Who don't nobody know what they gave up to go get Mahomes? It don't matter no more, man. But he has to hit. You know what I mean?
And I feel like they've been trying to address that for years. Even like last year when they went with a Rojo from Clemson,
Yep.
and then they took Arnold Ebiketie a couple years before that. So it's not like they weren't swinging for that edge rusher. They haven't had a good edge rusher since damn John Abram, and then that's a long time ago. And I mean, you spent a third round pick on Matt Judon, you're hoping that you would get some pass rush out of him, but that didn't turn out to be anything. So they've been hidden, but they just haven't. They've been swinging, but they just haven't been hitting.
Right.
And I think with them jumping back into the first round to get James Pierce, it just called for desperation.
Ooh.
And a Super Bowl winning coach like Raheem Moore, who had that defense with the Rams looking pretty damn good. You need as many pass rushers as you can.
Absolutely.
So they just took a swing at it, and you respect them for it, because if they didn't, you'd be like, they didn't get pass rushing right. What? We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But like you said, man, if he hits, who cares what you gave up?
In the third round, pick 96 safety. They picked Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, and I'm surprised he went all the way to the third round.
Yeah, he had injuries. He was injured this year, so he didn't play a full season. But his 2023 stuff is second round stuff. So.
And then in the fourth round, pick 118, they took safety Billy Bowman Jr. from Oklahoma. And in the seventh round, pick 218, offensive tackle Jack Nelson from Wisconsin. Here's the thing with the Falcons. Like, what do you do? I know the direction they're going to go in quarterback wise. They're going to go with Penix. What do you do with the other quarterback that you paid all this money to? You going to keep him on the roster, or are you going to?
Somebody's going to come calling. This is a quarterback league. Somebody's going to come calling. Somebody's going to bite that bullet and pay that $27 million. It's only for a year. Somebody's going to be like, hey, I need a quarterback. Let's say, for example, JJ in Minnesota don't look like we thought he might look going into camp. Hey, man, I'll give you Kevin O'Connell. Hey, man, I'll give you a 5th round pick and get Kirk off the hands. You going to pay this full salary? Yeah, you got him. Cleveland. Well, Cleveland was a destination, but you got about 12. they got a whole dozen of quarterbacks in there. But yeah, some it's a gift and a curse because you have your young buck and Michael Penix. That's the future, but you also have that insurance policy in the background. He can get you a couple games if something happened to Penix. Now we all know Penix. He tore both his ACLs at Indiana. He had so he's injury prone as well. Thank God ain't nothing happened to him yet, but he's a good insurance policy to have. And out of camp, somebody might get desperate, say, "Hey, we need a quarterback," and call Atlanta and hey, recoup something back for Cousins, and I can definitely see that happening for sure. So,
and you got to only do that unless you feel like really truly confident that Michael Penix is that guy.
mm-hmm.
Because still, like even with like the sample size that you did get out of him, it's still like some questions there.
Sure.
And then you considering who you have in the other quarterbacks in the room, Easton Stick.
Oh God, yeah, he made Jack Jones look like Prime Dion a couple years ago. Woo, man, that was a nice. Go
ahead. So I think we'll see what Atlanta does. It's a little confusing, but at least they know that they have Michael Penix going into the year. What they do with Kirk is another question for another day.
Yeah, I would like to see them to get another cornerback to go alongside AJ Terrell. I would like to see them address corner a little more. What they're gonna do with Kyle Pitts, but that's another episode for another day. 32 franchise 32 days. That's another whole episode. But yeah, I would love to see them address cornerback a little bit. But hey, they double down on pass rush. So
undrafted guys, they did take Kobe Bryant from Kansas.
Kansas, okay.
So, but undrafted, I thought he would have went.
Somebody would have taken him up 5th, 7th round. Somebody would have gave him a shot,
Yeah. And I also believe Melo Dotson. I believe he went undrafted as well. I'm not sure, but
he did.
I thought, I thought both of those guys would at least win in one of the rounds. Kobe Bryant is one of those guys. I'm not saying that they're going to hit on it, but he does give you effort.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens with that. Going to I think we went all over the draft picks. We'll show it again just in case did nobody see it the first time. Drake London, Darnell Mooney had a career year with Kirk at the helm, and then Michael Penix coming in late. Ray McLeod had some good production there, and then Kyle Pitts, who's still a question mark. It could be he might be a trade candidate. Depending on what happens in preseason and training camp. I know they did decline the 5th-year option.
They declined his 5th-year option?
Yeah, they did. They did that like before the season was over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On the defensive side of the ball, like you said, they need AJ Terrell needs a complimentary piece. And right now, Mike Hughes, Mike Ford, like those are not those guys.
Golly.
D Alford in the nickelback spot, like those are not. I do like Clark Phillips though, but those are not those guys. And then the safety spot, Jesse Bates, one of the best safeties in the league. Jordan Fuller at the strong safety spot, and then Xavier Watts, who you mentioned, did have some injury history. Let's see if he can stay healthy. Overall, for the Atlanta, I know it's not sexy, but did you feel like they nailed their picks?
I says TBD. TBD on James Pierce. I like the Billy Bowman. Like I said, I would love to see them take a corner. But you can't. This NFL draft, you can't get everything in one draft. It's always next year. I think Jalen Walker, he's going to be that alpha dog. He's going to be that leader on the defensive side of the ball in the linebacker room. Normally Georgia. Hey, if you want to be good on defense, pick somebody from Georgia. That's just the blueprint. I don't know Nate Georgia player that's went in the first round that hasn't showed up and showed out. Once they got into the league. So that's a tone setter. He's gonna be the voice. He reminds me of a little Roquan Smith a little bit. Just
Mhm.
Roquan Smith. He's middle linebacker. Jalen Smith plays off ball, but he has that demeanor, that dog mentality. Hey, it's me or nobody. I down and feel I lay it on the line. I get that from him. So that's great for Atlanta to have the DC to have Jeff Ulbrich. I think there's the DC. While his son out here giving away people phone numbers and stuff, but that's another whole that's whatever. But yeah, man, I do like the Jalen. That's probably my favorite pick out of this class is the Jalen Walker pick, and my second favorite pick would be the Billy Bowman pick. Sure.
Yeah, I really love the Jalen Walker pick, and to your point about Jeff Ulbrich's son, Atlanta was also fined like 250K, and I want to say they had some draft picks somewhere. It could have been
Okay,
taken away.
I know they had to do that.
I'm not sure. I had to read up on it. I do know $250,000 they were fined for that. So
That's a whole lot of chicken.
maybe I wonder, did Jeff Ulbrich take care of business?
I hope he did. No, so wait, Atlanta got fined 250, and
Yeah.
also got fined 100. So they got him for 100.
Ooh,
Yeah,
man.
they got him for 100. So you already know what time it is when I get to the crib. Oh God, man, man, you playing with that? Man, you playing with my chicken? I can get fired behind this because you want to be. So why are we talking about it? He pranked Abdul Carter. He pranked.
Oh, he played I do part two?
Yeah, he did. Tyler Warren. I don't know if it was Ulbricht's son, but it had to be. He did. Tyler Warren got prank called. Abdul Carter got prank called. Ashton Genty got prank called, and Shador got prank called. Wow. I don't know if they all came from Ulbricht's son. It might have just been Shador, but all four of them said they got prank called draft night, which is crazy. And Genty's was Genty. I seen Genty's today. Somebody said Genty had said somebody had called him and said, "Hey, you've been traded from the Raiders from the Raiders to the Cowboys." And he said he just hung up. You know it's a prank call. So yeah, man, this is this is wild because that's personal information that the league supposed to have on the wraps, and they getting that stuff leak out like that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Jeff didn't. He wasn't thinking that his son was gonna go in there and do that.
Yeah, 21-year-old kid, man. But yeah, I hope he got old Stern talking to or something when he got to the house. Not no talking to, but
more than a Stern talking to. Over the BTA,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got to fight. You 21 too? We got to fight. We got to ain't no getting no belt. No, we got to go at it because you playing.
All right, man. We got two more teams to get through. And this one right here, Carolina Panthers, we're going to go ahead and get these guys on out the way. Their 2025 draft picks. The first round, pick 8, they took Tetero McMillan. Outside of Travis Hunter, the next highest ranked wide receiver came off the board from Arizona. I like this pick. They're a good weapon for Bryce Young here. In the second round, pick 51, they took defensive end Nick Scordon from Texas A&M. In the third round, at pick 77, they took defensive end. You may have to help me with this one, brother.
Princely Ume Mayellen. Princely Ume Mayellen.
What he said from Ole Miss. In the fourth round, pick 114, they took running back Trevor Etienne from Georgia. Fourth round, pick 122, they picked safety Latham Ransom from Ohio State. Latham Ransom. And in the fifth round, pick 140, defensive tackle Cam Jackson from Florida. In the fifth round, pick 163. They picked tight end Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. And sixth round, pick 208. They took Jimmy Horn out of Colorado. We'll get to Jimmy Horn later. But with the Tech pick right there, I really like that for Bryce. And Tech gets to learn under um, Adam Thielen, who's been in the league for a minute, had success in the league, been 1,000-yard receiver. What a good receiver to learn from, right? As a rookie coming into the league.
Yeah, man. I like the Tech pick. Um, you can say it was too early. You can say that, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're not picking in that spot, you can say whatever player is too early. But like you said, this is give Bryce Young another weapon to another tree to throw the ball to. Bryce Young, he ain't but 5'10", so he can't see over the line anyway. So you know this will help him out a whole lot. I like the Nick. So I like Ted. I like Nick Scorton. I like Princely Ulamiyelen. I like Trevor, and I like the Jimmy Horn pick. Uh, Princely, he's going to give you some juice off the edge. Nick
Mm-hmm.
Scorton, transfer from Purdue 2 years ago, playing at Texas A&M. Some people had him as an early first round pick last year. Fell to 51 for whatever reason. I think that's great value where they got him. I think he was a top 40 player for me last this year. So to get him at 51, I think that was great value. Give you some much needed pass rush besides Derek Brown on the inside. So that defensive line room has got a little better. Trevor Etienne, I'll do it all back and hit you up the middle. Can got a little juice to him. And Jimmy Horn, man, yeah, coming from Colorado, you already know what he about from Colorado. You know who his lineage. Who his dad is, and yeah, man, I think it's a solid class. Lathan Ransom out of Ohio State, good physical safety, gonna come up, he gonna pop you. Gonna let you know that he's there. Cam Jackson, solid defensive tackle for rotation behind Derek Brown, and I can't think of the other defensive tackle they just signed. I can't. It's not popping up to me right now, but it will later on. So that gives some much needed depth. Then Mitchell Evans, right behind what's Buddy name? That's the starting tight end there. Jordan
Uh,
Blake.
Trimble.
Trimble from Notre Dame. So two Notre Dame guys in the building in the same room. So yeah, man. I mean, overall good class. They did what had to be done. Give Bryce Young some help with Tet, continue his development while also getting stout up front on defense. Yeah, the Trevor pick. I understand the Trevor pick because Jordan Brooks. I think he retore his ACL again last year. They gave Chuba Hubbard a contract, so you're definitely gonna need some insurance behind those two guys. I don't know if Book's going to play this year or not. I doubt it. He was a second round pick out of Texas last year, so I can see Trevor popping in and being RB2 while Brooks rehab. But yeah, man, I like what the Panthers did, especially in the first and second round.
I highly doubt that Brooks plays this year because, as you said, they did sign Chuba. He got paid. Congrats to him. And then they signed Rico Dowdle. So, and then picking up Trevor. So I highly doubt Jonathan Brooks plays this year. It's sad and unfortunate, but it's the game of football. But I do like what they did. Getting Chuba, he's well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Ted, I love the pick. You still got Jalen Coker there, who thrived last year, and then they signed Hunter Renfrow, your old boy. So
you know about him.
Yeah. Moving on, they also Xavier Legette. So you can use Legette, different ways. He can run the ball out of the backfield as well. So like he's like that gadget guy, that joker as some head coaches like to say, you can do so many things with them. And then don't forget about Jatavian Sanders, tight end.
That's the
Who,
tight end I was thinking about besides Trimble that they drafted last year. Sanders, that's from Texas. That's who I was thinking about.
yeah, he did some things last year. On the offensive line, Ike Makwanu, Taylor Moton on the left and right side, and then Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt, who I think I want to say they signed him
Yeah,
in the
he came from
offseason.
he came from Miami
Yeah,
last season.
yeah. I wasn't so sure, but they look like they in a route of helping Bryce out.
Yep,
You know,
yep. You gotta justify that pick, man. Giving up all you gave up to go get him, man. You gotta justify it by giving him a chance. So
exactly. On the defensive side of the ball, Tershawn Wharton from Kansas City. They signed him in the offseason. So that gives a defensive end that had plenty of playoff experience. Still got Derek Brown, who they signed. Shy Tuttle's still there. So Cam Jackson could be in a situation where he might get some playing time this year. I wouldn't be surprised. You still got Jadeveon Clowney there.
mm,
He's sitting right in front of Nick Scorden. Uh, who else? Don't forget about J.C. Horn, $100 million guy, right?
yeah, $100 million man. Whew. I know how you going, but
$100 million man ain't pay a whole full season yet. That's just man. Hey, I get it. But then on the other side, you got Michael Jackson, Shamar Bartholomew. Um, we'll see what happens with the defensive side of the ball for them. But overall, with Carolina, I think they did pretty well, especially with the first 4 picks that they had, and then Jimmy Horn too. I think Jimmy Horn's going to be a excellent weapon there. He's going to be a
yeah,
sleeper.
he's more like he'd be your fourth receiver, third receiver, punt returner, kick returner. He can be that type of role for you, his rookie season. So yeah, I like Jimmy Horn.
Yeah, I'm definitely picking up like him on fantasy somewhere.
Oh
He's
yeah,
he's definitely coming with me. You ready to move on to our last team here?
yeah. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. The next team here, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in the first round, pick 19, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. Not surprising here, considering that Mike Evans is getting older and Chris Godwin just coming off of a season-ending injury. So I know you had McMillan over there that did some things, but what a way to go in and get out of the first round, and you have a wide receiver like Ekabuka who can do things that he can do.
Yeah, man. Ibuka, man, he's just Mr. Consistent. He's gonna be in the right spots, gonna run his routes the right way. He might not be the fastest,
Hmm.
but he's gonna route you up for sure. Um, I like the Benjamin. This, me looking at this class right now, man. I'm looking. I don't know how I feel about it, but the more I'm looking at it, the more I like it. You get Ibuka at 19, you get Benjamin Morrison. His best tape was 2023. He dealt with a hip injury all of last year, so you didn't see the best of Benjamin Morrison last year. But I guarantee you, if he had been healthy this year, he would have been a surefire top 20 pick for sure. That's how good Morrison was in 2023. Jacob Perry out of Kansas State, feisty cornerback, gonna play physical man, press coverage on you, can play a little zone. Um, David Walker out of Central Arkansas. Here's an interesting story. He wanted to. I think he started at Arkansas, or either he wanted to transfer to Arkansas, but they didn't have room for him. I got to double check my story here, but he's played at I think 2 levels of college football, and each level he's played college ball. He's been like the player of the year in his conference. So he definitely he can get out there. He's a nice solid pass rusher. Elijah Roberts from SMU. I looked some more into Elijah Roberts. I didn't see too much of him. And your boy's brother, Tez Johnson, at
So surprised he went to the seventh round.
yeah, that's your boy's brother. Unofficially, he ran a 4.45. I mean, yeah, 4.55 at the combine, which was a little shocking for his size. He's like 5'10", 5'9", buck 775. But he couldn't. But when you watch him on TV and watch him on tape, couldn't nobody touch him, which was so weird to me. But yeah, man, to get him in the seventh round is a steal from what he did in college and produced. So me looking at this Bucks class from a second view, I kind of like what they did, man. All the way around rounds one through seven.
Tez Johnson is going to have a time of trying to get some playing time because Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Abuka, Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer still there. Like where preseason and training camp, he's got to make the most of his opportunities, bro.
Yeah, I think he will, man. I think he will. I don't know. I'm not saying he's taking somebody's spot, man, but I mean, think about it. If you're looking at it in the road, man, Sterling Shepard, he's been in the league for a long time. Sterling Shepard is what he is. Chris Godwin, what I'm saying, he got a new bag, but
he just coming off that injury.
Yeah, Mike Evans, he getting a bit older too. So it's gonna be another spot in the room that's open. So I can see him touching the field this year in limited snaps on special teams and punting kick returns, but cracking that top four receivers in his rotation probably a little tough. But I can see him in spot duty, making some plays.
And one of my favorite players, one of the players that we could have got last year, Bucky Irvin. He's still there right now. He's the first running back on the depth chart. Not surprised at all. With Baker throwing the ball and the way he's throwing it, I feel like with them getting a Mecca, it just only boosted it. Him to another level. Like this, I'm not sure if I don't know where this will put him. I don't know how. I just don't know right now. Of course, we all don't know right now. But and Tampa Bay could be one of those teams that's going to be like a sleeper.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, you still got Cade Otton, who kind of like he was always there, but he kind of broke through last year. Tristan Wirfs still there on the offensive line. Luke Godecki, I hope I said that right. Ben Bredesen, Cody Mock, Graham Barton on the offensive line. Defense. On the defensive side of the ball, Kalijah Kancey seems like he's a dude.
Oh, he's like that.
Yes. Yeah. Then Vita Vea and I think did they get somebody else? I want to say they got somebody else as like a.
They signed Hassan Reddick for 1 year, $14 million. Yeah.
The Bucks, man. And then they still have Yaya Diaby over there, who was just drafted not too long ago as well. So the Bucks defensive line could be one of those good defensive lines. As you said, Hassan Reddick, very underrated signing. Still got Levante David over there. Still got Anthony Walker over there as a good linebacker. Not talked about enough. Good role player, but Jamel Dean at cornerback, and then Zion McCullum, who did some things there last year. Benjamin Morrison backing up Jamel Dean right now. Taki Smith at the nickelback position. At the safety spot, this is where I feel like they're kind of weak right now. And Antoine Winfield, you know what he can do. Super Bowl champion over there. Christian Izzian, hope I said that right. And then Rashad Wisdom. So it's looking kind of thin over there.
Yeah, safety spot
But
ain't looking the greatest.
right. So but with the Bucks draft, I feel like they with their offense and with how I'm projecting it, how they would look right now, and then the starting defense, I think they're going to be a pretty damn good team going into 2025.
Yeah, man. They're gonna be dogs in the NFC South. I would have loved them to see them take Jahad Campbell at 19. That would have been, I've been banging that on the table since we started this. But shoulder
That was your
injury.
pick.
Yeah, man, that was my pick, man. But shoulder injuries, some setbacks there, so I understand. But hey, getting Mecca Buka at 19,
Yeah.
sniff at for sure. So
Yeah, man. We'll see how Tampa Bay does this. Hopefully, somebody in the NFC South can win more than 9 games this year. I think for the last 2 seasons, they've been in single digits as far as wins. So we'll see what happens there. And we were going on what, an hour minutes. We've covered AFC South and NFC South. Once again, apologies to we didn't know we wasn't live on Facebook and YouTube, but we are now, and you can catch the start of the show once it's already uploaded. Where we going next, man? North, south, north, east, west.
we can go to the we can do East next, man, because there's some interesting picks in the East with the Dolphins, Patriots, Cowboys, Giants. There's a couple of my
Cowboys.
couple draft classes in there, especially the Patriots and Cowboys. I really like some of the things that they did. So yeah, we'll be tapping in with the East here with you guys here next. But yeah, man, that's one that I got a whole lot to say
Don't know for sure if we're going tomorrow, but if we are, you'll see us on the screen. You'll see us on your timeline. We will definitely let you guys know. That was a breakdown of the AFC and the NFC South. Any last thoughts, sir?
Yeah, man. These breakdown, man, it's going to be interesting, man. Us just looking at these picks 2-3 weeks down the road, and got mini camps for the rookie mini camps coming up next week for majority of the league, man. So we'll get to see some of our favorite draft picks, and whether it's with the Broncos or whether it's with the Raiders here, with their helmet on for the first time, getting that first whiff of NFL install, man. So I'm excited. Camp schedule release 2 weeks from yesterday, so the 14th coming up. So we're definitely going to have a episode or two about the schedule. Yeah, man. Before you know it, you blink. It's preseason be here before you know it, man. Because May, June, mini camp, July training camp, August training camp, coming around is right around the corner for us, man.
Season be here right before you know it.
Yeah, then we've already, just to give a peek behind the curtain, we've already started compiling a list of people we're going to look forward for 2026. We're going to plan some special for 2026 potential draft prospects here down the road, man. But we got a whole lot planned, a whole lot lined up, and hopefully we can get some special guests on here down the road that can have a different perspective from me and you, and share their insight and what they think about what happened this off season. So yeah, man, we likely loaded and ready to roll.
Absolutely, man. My final thought is it's gonna make it to a little sound bite, and I'm being as serious as I can about this. I think the Knicks are gonna go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know how, but I feel like we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
See, this was getting off the rails here. Whew.
Yeah. As for myself, Larry Patterson, for my man Amon Washington, We are out. This is the AFC South, NFC South breakdown, the draft picks. Till then.